Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Jason, your host, and today we have an exciting and important topic to discuss. Fluency is a habit, not a skill.
That's right, Jason. A lot of English learners think that fluency is some special talent or skill that only a few people have. But in reality, fluency is something you build over time, just like any other habit in life.
Exactly, Julia. And today, we're going to break that down for our listeners. We'll talk about why fluency is a habit, not just a skill, and how small daily actions can help you become a confident English speaker.
And trust me, if you've been struggling with speaking English, feeling stuck, or thinking that you're just not good at languages, this episode is for you. By the end of this podcast, you'll understand how to turn English into a natural part of your daily life.
So, if you're ready to build fluency, just like you build any other habit, let's get started. So, let's start by understanding what fluency really means. Julia, when someone says, "I want to be fluent in English," what do you think they actually mean?
Well, Jason, most people think fluency means speaking perfectly without mistakes. But that's not really true. Fluency is about speaking smoothly and naturally, even if you make small mistakes. It's about expressing your thoughts without too much hesitation.
That's a great point. Fluency isn't about speaking perfectly. It's about speaking comfortably. And that's why we say fluency is a habit, not just a skill.
Right. Think about when you first learned to ride a bike. At first it felt difficult, you wobbled and maybe even fell a few times. But the more you practiced, the smoother it became. Now you don't even think about balancing. You just ride.
I love that example. The same thing happens with English. At first, it feels unnatural, and you have to think about every word. But with enough practice, speaking becomes automatic, just like riding a bike.
And here's something interesting. Fluency is not just about speaking. It's also about listening and understanding quickly. When you build the habit of hearing English every day, your brain starts processing words faster, and speaking becomes easier.
That's so true. When we hear a language regularly, we start to recognize patterns and phrases without even realizing it. And the more we're exposed to English, the more natural it becomes.
So, to sum it up, fluency isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. The more you practice, the smoother and faster your English will be.
Exactly. And that brings us to an important question. Why is fluency a habit, and not just a skill? We're going to break that down in the next section, so stay with us. So, Julia, we just talked about what fluency really means. Now, let's go deeper. Why do we say fluency is a habit, and not just a skill?
That's a great question, Jason. A lot of people believe fluency is something you either have or don't have, like a special skill. But the truth is, fluency isn't something you just learn once. It's something you develop through daily practice. That's why it's a habit.
Exactly. Let's compare it to something like exercising. If you want to be fit, you don't just go to the gym once, right? You have to exercise regularly to stay in shape.
Yes, and it's the same with English. If you only practice once in a while, you won't see much improvement. But if you make English a part of your daily routine, it becomes natural just like any other habit.
I love that comparison. Here's another one. Brushing your teeth. You don't think about it, you just do it every day because it's a habit. Imagine if speaking English was just as automatic as brushing your teeth.
That's a great example, Jason. When something becomes a habit, you don't have to force yourself to do it. You just do it naturally. And that's how fluency works. The more you practice, the more effortless it becomes.
But here's the problem. Many English learners treat fluency like a big goal instead of a daily habit. They say, "I'll study English for 2 hours on Sunday," but then they don't touch English for the rest of the week.
Yes, and that's like saying, I'll go to the gym once a month and expect to get strong. It doesn't work like that. The key is small, consistent actions every day.
Absolutely. Just 10 to 15 minutes of English every day is more powerful than studying for 3 hours once a week. Why? Because habits create automatic responses. The more you repeat something, the easier it gets.
And here's the best part. Once speaking English becomes a habit, you don't have to think so much. It just flows. You don't stop to translate in your head, and you start speaking more naturally.
That's the goal, right? Speaking without stress. And that's why, in the next part, we're going to talk about how small daily actions can help you build fluency step by step. So, Julia, we've talked about how fluency is a habit, not just a skill. But I think some of our listeners might be wondering, okay, but how do I actually build this habit?
That's a great question, Jason. And the answer is simple, small daily actions. You don't need to study for hours every day. Just 10 to 15 minutes of practice daily can make a huge difference over time.
Exactly. A lot of people think they need a perfect study plan or expensive courses. But the truth is, small, consistent actions are more powerful than big, irregular efforts.
Yes, let's give our listeners some practical, easy ways to build an English habit. Jason, what's the first small action they can take?
All right, here's one. Think in English. You don't need a partner. You don't need a class. Just start describing your day in English in your mind. Like, I'm making coffee. I need to leave in 5 minutes. This simple habit will train your brain to use English naturally.
Oh, I love that one. And here's another speak to yourself. It might feel strange at first, but just talk out loud about anything. Your plans, how your day was, or even what you see around you. The more you speak, the more comfortable you become.
That's a great tip. And if you want to take it one step further, record your voice. Just talk for 1 minute about your day and listen to yourself. You'll notice your progress over time.
Yes. And let's not forget about listening habits. Instead of just listening to English once in a while, make it part of your daily routine. Listen to a podcast while walking, watch a short English video while eating, or play English music while driving.
Exactly. The more your brain absorbs English, the easier it will be to speak. And here's a fun habit: change your phone language to English. That way, every time you use your phone, you're interacting with English.
Oh, that's such a smart idea. Another simple habit is reading aloud even just 5 minutes a day. It helps your pronunciation and makes you more confident in speaking.
These are all small actions, but together they create big results. The key is daily repetition. Even if you only practice for 10 minutes, it will add up over time.
Yes. And here's the best part. These small habits don't feel like studying. They just become part of your life. That's when fluency really starts to happen.
Exactly. And speaking of confidence, in the next part, we'll talk about something that stops a lot of learners from speaking: fear of making mistakes. Stay with us. So, Julia, we've talked about small daily actions to build fluency. But there's one big challenge many English learners face: fear of speaking. Have you seen this happen with learners?
Oh, absolutely, Jason. Many learners know a lot of English, but when it's time to speak, they freeze. They worry about making mistakes, sounding funny, or being judged.
Yes. And the truth is, mistakes are part of learning. No one speaks perfectly all the time, not even native speakers.
That's so true. Even native speakers pause, correct themselves, and use fillers like, and you know. So it's completely normal to make small mistakes when learning.
Exactly. And here's an important mindset shift: mistakes don't make you look bad. They actually show that you're learning.
Yes. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall many times, but no one laughs at them. We cheer for them. The same should happen when learning a language.
That's a great example, Julia. And another thing, most people don't care if you make mistakes. They just want to understand what you're saying.
Right. And confidence doesn't come from speaking perfectly. It comes from speaking despite the mistakes. The more you practice, the less fear you'll have.
So, what can learners do to overcome their fear of speaking?
One simple trick is to start small. Instead of worrying about full conversations, just practice one sentence at a time. Even saying, "How's your day?" to a stranger can build confidence.
That's a great tip. And another one, speak with yourself first. If you feel shy, practice alone. Once you get comfortable, you'll feel more confident speaking with others.
Yes, and lastly, focus on communication, not perfection. The goal is to be understood, not to be perfect. If you keep speaking, fluency will come naturally.
That's a powerful reminder, Julia. And in the next part, we'll discuss how building an English-speaking environment can make fluency easier. Stay with us. So, Julia, we've talked about breaking the fear of speaking. But here's another important question. How can learners create an environment where English feels natural, even if they don't live in an English-speaking country?
That's a great question, Jason. And the good news is you don't need to live in an English-speaking country to surround yourself with English. You can create your own English environment anywhere.
Exactly. And one simple way is to change your digital world to English. Set your phone, apps, and social media to English so you see and interact with the language daily.
Yes, and another powerful habit, follow English content creators. Watch YouTube videos, listen to podcasts, and read posts from native speakers. The more you expose yourself to real English, the more natural it becomes.
Great tip. And here's another one, find an English-speaking buddy. It could be a friend, a language partner online, or even a community on social media where you can practice regularly.
Yes, and if you don't have a partner, don't worry. You can join online forums, comment on English posts, or even write daily journal entries in English.
These small changes make a huge difference. The more you surround yourself with English, the faster you'll develop fluency.
Absolutely. And next, we're going to talk about something that keeps many learners stuck: the importance of consistency and patience. Stay with us.
All right, Julia, we've talked about fluency being a habit, not just a skill. So, how about we challenge our listeners to put everything into action?
I love that idea, Jason. Let's introduce them to the 21-day Fluency Habit Challenge.
Here's how it works. It's simple but powerful. For the next 21 days, do at least one small English activity every day. Just 10 to 15 minutes is enough.
Yes, and to make it easier, here are some options. 1. Think in English for 5 minutes. 2. Speak aloud to yourself about your day. 3. Watch or listen to something in English 4. Write a short journal entry in English 5. Have a short conversation in English, even if it's online.
The goal is to make English a daily habit. No pressure, no perfection, just consistent practice for 21 days.
And after 21 days, you'll notice something amazing. Fluency will feel easier. Your confidence will grow, and English will start to feel more natural.
So, are you ready to take the challenge? If you are, start today and let us know how it goes. So, are you ready to take the challenge? If you are, start today and let us know how it goes.
Good luck. And coming up next, we'll wrap things up with our final thoughts. Stay with us.
All right, Julia. We've covered a lot of ground today. From understanding fluency as a habit, to breaking the fear of speaking, building your own English environment, and even taking on the 21-day Fluency Habit Challenge.
Absolutely. And the key takeaway here is that fluency doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey that takes time, practice, and consistency.
Exactly. So, we challenge you to start today. Commit to small daily actions for 21 days and watch your confidence and fluency grow.
And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this podcast with others who are on their own English learning journey. We'd love to hear about your progress and thoughts, so feel free to comment or reach out.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of the English Learning Podcast. Keep practicing and keep improving your fluency one day at a time.